Today we are going to learn about essay writing, which is there in your HMHU 201 syllabus, and it is a part of the module 5 of your syllabus. So many students think that essay writing simply means writing a long answer, but let me tell you that is not correct. Essay is not just a long piece of writing. Rather, I would say that it is where organized thinking is involved and where you express your organized thinking in a written form. Whenever we write an essay, we are actually trying to respond to a topic or a question in a very planned, in a very meaningful way. So, a good essay needs to have a proper, clear idea, proper structure. It needs to have relevant points and correct use of language. So, these are the things we'll discuss in this video today. To start with, let us focus on what is an essay. An essay is a focused piece of writing that presents an idea, explanation, argument, reflection, or experience in an organized way. Now, let us understand step by step. First, we begin with a topic. For example, education, or let's take social media or technology. But a topic is usually broad. So we need to narrow it down and focus on it. Instead of writing generally on education, we may focus on the role of online learning in education. So after that, we form a thesis statement. Thesis statement is nothing but the main idea or the central argument of the essay. Now, a good essay always depends on three things. That is your purpose, the audience to whom you will be uh, showing or conveying your essay, and the organization. Now, purpose tells us why we are writing. Are we trying to inform someone, or explain, or narrate, or persuade, or analyze? And audience tells us who will read the essay. Are we writing it for teachers, or our classmates, or examiners, or the general public? And next is organization. So organization helps the reader to follow our thoughts clearly. So remember that a good essay answers a question clearly and supports the answer logically. Let us discuss about the essay writing process. So the essay writing process has several steps. The first step is to understand the question first. Whenever you get a question, many students, they make this mistake of not reading the question carefully. If the question says discuss, you'll find words like discuss or explain or describe or analyze. Each command word requires a different answer each time. Second is brainstorm ideas. So at this stage, write down whatever points come to your mind. Do not worry about grammar or the order. Just write down those ideas randomly. The third step is to outline the structure. Now decide what will come in the introduction. What are the points that you will include in introduction? What are the points that you are going to include in the body paragraphs, and how many paragraphs you are going to use? And conclusion. The fourth step is to draft the paragraphs. This is the first version of your essay actually. It does not have to be perfect. Next is the fifth step, where you revise the content. Check whether the ideas that you have written, those are logical or not, those are relevant to the question asked or not, whether they are properly arranged or not. Next is the final step, that is edit the language. When we edit the language, it is just where we revise, we check the grammar, spelling, punctuation, sentence structure, word choice. Now let us discuss the major types of essays. From this particular slide, you may expect question of 5 to 10 marks. So pay particular attention, special attention to this slide. So there are different types of essays, and we Choose the type according to the purpose of the writing. The first one is narrative, which tells a story or describes an experience. Next one is descriptive essay, which creates a picture in the reader's mind. The next one is expository essay, which explains an idea clearly. The next is an argumentative essay, which takes a position and tries to prove that. Next is reflective essay, where you look back at an experience and you explain what was learned from that experience. And the last one is analytical essay, which breaks down a topic and interprets it. So in real writing, when you look at a real life thing, one essay may combine more than one type that I have mentioned here. For example, an essay can be both descriptive as well as reflective, but usually one purpose dominates. In examination, you have to pay attention to command words like describe, like narrate, like discuss, compare, analyze, argue. Now, let us compare narrative and descriptive essays. We'll look into both of these types in details. Now, a narrative essay, as I told you all previously, that it tells a story. So it usually has a beginning, a middle, and an end. It may include characters, it may have a setting, it may have a conflict between the characters, it may also have a lesson. For example, if I say, a day I'll never forget. So now this is a narrative topic because it asks us to describe your experience or an incident because of which you will not forget that day. Now, coming to descriptive essay, on the other hand, it creates a vivid picture. It focuses on your sensory details, what we see, what we hear, you smell, you taste, and touch. For example, the railway station at dawn. So you see, it is a descriptive topic because we need to describe the atmosphere, the sounds that you have heard at the railway station, the people, what kind of people, the description of the people you saw at the railway station, the colors, the movement of that place. So the main difference is this, that a narrative essay moves through time while a descriptive essay pauses and goes into more details. It shows more details. So if you are telling what happened first, next, and finally, it is narrative. But if you're creating a picture through details that you are giving, it is descriptive. Now, here comes the confusing part. Students often confuse between expository and argumentative essays. So let us understand the difference clearly. Now, an expository essay explains a topic. It gives facts, it gives definitions, uses examples, also tells us the causes, the effects, or steps. So the tone that is used in this expository essay is usually objective and informative. For example, how social media affects communication can be written as an expository essay if we are simply explaining the effects without taking a strong side. Whereas, coming to argumentative essay, it takes a clear position. It tries to persuade a reader. When I'll be reading the essay, I'll be persuaded towards believing in your logics, believing in the evidence and the reasons that you have given, believing in the examples that you have used. For example, should mobile phones be allowed in class? Now, this is argumentative because the writer must take a position, yes or no, and write in support or against that. Okay. So, if I put it in more simple words, it would be like, am I only explaining the topic? If you are doing that, then it is expository. If you ask yourself a question, am I trying to prove a point? If it is yes, then it is argumentative essay. Now, apart from this, we have many other common essay types, that is a compare and contrast essay. It also discusses the similarities and the difference between two ideas, or maybe two people, two places, two situations. There is cause and effect essay, which explains why something happens and what are the consequences that follow. There is critical essay, which evaluates the strengths, the weaknesses, the importance or meaning of a work or maybe an idea. There is literary essay, which analyzes a poem, story, drama, character, theme, maybe symbols. Next, we have research essay. Research essay uses external sources where we use facts, we use citations, we use evidence to discuss a topic. We have reflective essay, which connects personal experience with learning, with change, with self awareness. So, the easiest way to identify the essay type is look for the command word. For example, compare asks for similarities and differences too. Okay, so that is about this. Now we come to the structure of an essay. Think of an essay as a building. Just imagine. If one block is weak while building, the entire structure becomes weak. So, similarly, at the foundation, we have the topic, the purpose, and the audience. Before writing, we must know what we are writing about and why we are writing and for whom we are writing. Next comes the introduction. The introduction, it opens the discussion and presents the claims, presents the thesis. Then comes the thesis statement. Thesis statement is nothing but the claim that you're making, which is the central claim or the main idea of the essay. After that, we have the body paragraphs. Now, each body paragraph should have a topic sentence followed by the explanation or supporting sentence. Finally, we have the conclusion, which closes the essay by restating your main idea and showing its significance. So, a good essay is just not a random piece of writing. Remember, it has to be carefully built part by part, just like a building. Let me go into a bit more details about the thesis statement. Thesis statement is just like the backbone of the essay. It is usually one or two sentences that clearly states the main idea or the position of the essay. Let's take a few examples. As I have mentioned in this slide, education is important. Now, this is too broad. It does not tell us what exactly the essay will discuss. Let's go to the next, where we say online learning has changed education. Now, this is better, but still not very specific. Going to the next, blended learning improves flexibility, access, and learner autonomy. Now, we can consider this topic to be strong because it is specific, meaningful, and manageable. So, a good thesis statement should have three qualities. It must be specific, it must be meaningful or debatable, it must be manageable. Mainly, it should help the reader understand what points the essay will discuss. Next is the introduction. So, the introduction of an essay is like opening the door for the reader. When the reader reads it, it should make the reader interested and prepare them for the main discussion. Now, a good introduction usually has three parts. As I have mentioned in this particular slide, it has number one, hook. Now, the hook is actually something that catches the attention of the reader. It may be a question, it may be a short quotation too, it may be a brief story that you're starting your essay with, or maybe a surprising fact. Next is the context. Now, the context gives background information. It explains the topic. It goes into details about talking about the key terms, the problem or scope. Third is the thesis or It presents the main idea or the position of the essay. Now, let me try and explain this to you through an example. Now, if the topic is the importance of communication skills for engineers, for this topic, we may begin with a general statement about the importance of it in the modern workplace. Then we may explain why communication matters in technical fields. Finally, we may write a thesis, that is the main idea, the position of the essays, as communicate how communication skills helps engineers present ideas clearly and also work effectively as a part of a team and succeed in professional interviews. So this is about the three parts of the introduction. One thing I have mentioned here is that we must try and avoid weak openings, such as, the things like dictionary definitions you may find, or maybe unrelated quotations, or maybe something that is overly dramatic statements. So the formula is very simple. You move from general context to a specific thesis. That's about it. Next is the body paragraph. So there are a number of paragraphs that develop the essay. So each of them are called the body paragraph. Each body paragraph should focus on one main idea. So I have presented a useful model here which will help you to understand the paragraph sandwich. First, you have to introduce your paragraph by writing a proper topic sentence. Now, what is topic sentence? It mainly introduces the main point of the paragraph. And then comes the supporting sentences, or which may be also called the evidence, such as what are the evidences of the supporting sentence, such as you might come up with an example to support your topic sentence, or maybe you mention a fact, or maybe you write a quotation related to the topic sentence, or maybe some data statistics, or maybe you come up with some explanation. Okay, so um, explanation is very important because you must show how your evidence supports your topic sentence. And there should also be linking sentences that connects the paragraph to the next idea. Remember a very simple rule that one paragraph equals to one idea. Now, you should not mix unrelated points in one paragraph. If one paragraph begins with teamwork, it should not suddenly shift to pollution, or it should not shift to mobile phones unless there is a clear connection. This is the special slide for evidence and elaboration. Just listen to it. I believe it will help you when you write the essay. So, evidence makes your essay strong, but just evidence alone is not enough. You must explain the evidence. Now, what is evidence? Evidence just includes facts, examples, quotations, data, or your reasoning, your logics. For example, if you write communication skills helps engineers during interviews, you should not stop there. You need to elaborate. You have to explain that during interviews, engineers um, must explain technical knowledge in simple and confident language. So this shows not only subject knowledge but also professional readiness. So that is there. That is the importance of evidence and elaboration. This particular slide is very important because you do have a particular topic in your syllabus on this, that is coherence and cohesion. Now, coherence and cohesion are very important in essay writing. Coherence simply means ideas that are arranged logically. When the reader reads it, uh, the reader should not feel that one point is disconnected. The points must naturally lead one to the next. Similarly, cohesion means sentences and paragraphs must be connected smoothly. So, in order to create a flow, we use transition words. Now, what are those transition words? It is firstly, however, for example, similarly, therefore, in conclusion. Moreover, okay, so these are there. Remember, transition should not be used mechanically. Do not begin every sentence with words like firstly, secondly, or moreover. Use them only when it is needed. And now a bit of information about cohesion. You can maintain cohesion by repeating key terms carefully. For example, if your essay is about communication skills, once again, you keep returning to that phrase or related words. Like what can be the related words? It can be clarity, it can be interaction, it can be professional expression. So basically, you have to arrange your words points properly. You may move from simple to complex points or from weaker to stronger arguments. So these transitions are very important. It will help the readers understand where your essay is going. Is the last and a very important part of essay writing, that is the conclusion. Now, conclusion gives closure to your essay. It should not introduce completely new argument all over again. A good conclusion will serve four different things. For first of all, it will restate the thesis in different words. Secondly, it will summarize the key points. Thirdly, it will show the significance of the topic that you have written the essay on. Fourthly, it will end with a final thought. I'll again use the same example, that is communication skills for engineers. The conclusion may say that the technical knowledge is important, but communication helps engineers present that knowledge effectively in real professional situations. So, a conclusion should not come very abruptly. It should make the reader feel that the essay is complete. Okay, so there are ways of ending an essay. You can call for a reflection, you can write a memorable final line, you can end it with a warning. It can also include, sometimes it can also use recommendations. Now, the language, tone, and style. This particular slide is important for your examinations. It can come as a 5 marks question. The language, tone, and style, short note on it. Now, a good essay is not about using very big ornamental language. It is about expressing your thinking in correct and let's say mature language. Now, first, we need to focus on clarity, that is, use direct sentences. Avoid making sentences that look complicated. Unnecessary complicated sentences must be avoided. Next is you need to focus on the precision. Now, what I mean to say is you must avoid vague languages like things, nice, good. Use exact words that brings precision. Third, maintain a formal tone. Now, in academic essays, we have to avoid slang strictly. Chat language that we use on WhatsApp and other platforms, emojis and emotional exaggerations must be avoided. Fourthly, we must use variety in sentence structure. Mix short and long sentences to make your writing more natural. Finally, grammar, very important. The tense, the subject verb agreement, the articles, prepositions, punctuation, and spelling must be paid special attention to. Okay, next I have highlighted the common mistakes and how we can avoid them. Please take a look at this. The first mistake is, writing without a clear thesis. The solution is to write the main idea before you draft it. Second mistake is where weak paragraphing. So the solution is to keep one idea in one paragraph, as I had previously mentioned. Third mistake is giving too many examples, but um, giving very little analysis. So you have to explain the relevance of every example. Fourth mistake, and a very commonly made mistake, is repetition. This happens because the students do not plan. The solution is to create outline before you start writing. Fifth mistake is abrupt ending. The conclusion should once again return to the thesis and show the importance, the significance of the topic. The sixth and a major mistake is language error. Before we submit it, we have to proofread. In this slide, I have mentioned some classroom practice activities which you can go ahead and do it on your own, which will help you in your examinations. Before submitting an essay, always check a few things and get these answers. Questions like, have I answered the exact question? Does each paragraph have one main idea? Have I used evidences and explained them? Are the transitions of paragraphs smooth? And does the conclusion that I've written give a proper closure? And of course, grammar, spelling, and punctuation must be checked. Um, Finally, remember that good essays are not produced suddenly. They are built idea by idea, paragraph by paragraph, and revision by revision. So whenever you write an essay, do not panic. Understand the topic. Next, plan the points, write them clearly, revise, and that brings you improvement. Thank you.